Treasure hunts are something that every child has dreamt about being a part of. The thrill of putting the clues together, finding the X that marks the spot, and revealing that glorious treasure is as close to fantasy as some of us can even imagine. Whether it be man or child, the joy in being able to be a part of such a widespread phenomena triggers the curiosity in our minds to seek out the truth. For centuries, there have been numerous treasures, both confirmed and rumored about, lost to the sands of time. However, in the early 1990s, a treasure hunt would come out of France that would become so difficult to decipher, requiring a range of skills not available to a single person, that it too would join the rest of the forgotten treasures in history. Welcome to On the Trail of the Golden Owl. Inspired by similar treasure hunt stories of his time, like Masquerade and The Secret, On the Trail of the Golden Owl came by way of France from author Regis Hauser, who went by the pseudonym Max Valentin. With him was his illustrator Michel Becker, who, together, would make a treasure hunt so encrypted that, to this day, it has yet to be solved. Taking large influence from Byron Pryce's The Secret and Kit Williams' Masquerade, the Golden Owl would incorporate clues hidden within gorgeous works of art in order for readers to have to decipher each one, with the eventual goal being the elusive Golden Owl. The Golden Owl was a statuette measured at 10 inches high and 20 inches wide, roughly weighing in at about 33 pounds. Entirely made out of gold and silver and ingrained with diamonds on its head, the owl was more than just eye candy. The appraisal at the time was estimated to be around 150,000 euros, where, with inflation and other factors, it can be worth double or triple its value in today's market. In order for the real statuette to not be ruined, a bronze replica that would be traded in for the original was made and buried somewhere in France, with its location only being known to the ones who can crack the secret of the puzzle. Within the book are 11 clues, known as Enigmas, each detailing a different aspect to where the location of the owl is. Each enigma consists of a title, some text, and a modernist-style piece of art. Also included are a giant colored owl face and a number associated with its wavelength on the color spectrum. The order in which the clues should be solved has been in contention since the treasure hunt began. Many people at first figured that the order would go based on page number, while others figured that because color and light were so prominent, it would have to be ordered based on its appearance on the color spectrum. However, the generally accepted order is based on the solution to one of the enigmas and conspicuously known as B. The B enigma has been widely accepted as the first clue in the order, and the one that sets the rest of the enigmas in line. With it comes a picture of a light spectrum, further establishing the use of color and light throughout the puzzle. Under the bolded text, you are given 5 sets of numbers. 1 equals 530, 3 equals 470, 5 equals 600, 7 equals 420, 9 equals 650. By deducing that each number corresponds with a different enigma, the B enigma tells you the order of every odd-numbered clue. However, how is one supposed to figure out all the even-numbered enigmas? By charting all the known numbers on what's known as a Newton's disk, we are able to see where each color's spectral light lies on the wheel. We now realize that the puzzles are grouped in pairs, with each even-numbered enigma being the complementary color of an odd enigma. The order now looks something like this. This is what is known colloquially as the B order. At first glance, the puzzle seems pretty straightforward. Solve each enigma and move on to the next. However, the longer you read into them, the more you realize why this puzzle has yet to be solved. While the puzzles themselves aren't the most difficult out there, with a little over half of them being somewhat solved, It's the amount of overlap between each enigma that makes this puzzle super complicated. Locations of cities, understandings of astronomical and astrological studies, and intense levels of cryptology are necessary in order to understand some enigmas to their full potential. Here are two examples of relatively easy enigmas, and one that is a little on the difficult side. Clue 530 depicts a picture of a rooster looking off into the sunrise. With it comes a small poem that, within, has the answer. Although it does not translate well into English, what you come to find is that the poem deciphers into the French city of Bourges. This is corroborated with the picture itself, the rooster being the national bird of France, and if you were to look closely, you can see the outline of what appears to be the map of France, its head roughly close to the city of Bourges. This is possibly the easiest clue in the entire puzzle, but its answer being integral to the solution of subsequent enigmas. Clue 470 is another wordplay enigma, where going line by line will allow you to spell out the name of another location in France. Though the answer to each part of the clue are a little ridiculous, they end up spelling the location of a Roncesvalles. Roncesvalles being a historic location in French history, the place where the battle in which Charlemagne lost to the Cordovan Muslims on Roncesvalles Pass. Once you were to figure out the location, the artwork begins to make much more sense. The sword in the stone likely symbolizes Roland, the military leader who lost his life in that battle. If you were to superimpose the map of France onto the art piece, the sword points to the general location of Roncesvalles Pass, adding more substance to the solution. Finally, we have Clue 780. 780 is one of the most hotly argued enigmas in the book. The page begins with a picture of an upside-down compass, with the background being the crossing of a pedestrian and a horse carriage. The text within the page is much shorter than a lot of the other enigmas, but is probably more confusing than them all. Translated, it reads, "Where you want, by the nag and the coachman, but where you must, by the compass and the foot." Many people believe this clue to revolve around the measurement of 33 centimeters, or the perimeter of the compass. Seeing as this clue comes right after 530, many consider Bourges to be the first place to start and where you should take your first step, hence 780's title. Even with all this, if someone were to magically figure out all 11 cryptic enigmas, they still wouldn't be able to find the golden owl, as therein lies the last enigma, the super clue. Obviously, because the 11 enigmas have yet to be fully solved, the 12th won't be revealed. Valentine has stated that by working out the 11 clues, it will give you an area roughly the same size as an average city. Within each clue, leftover elements Valentine calls remnants exist, with which the 12th enigma can be solved with. It's very likely the 12th enigma will come in the form of a small sentence that will define where exactly to dig in order to find the bronze replica. Because you would need to figure out the answers to the 11 enigmas in order to know what are leftovers, it's almost impossible to try and even make an educated guess on where to dig. The interest of the treasure hunt slowly died down throughout the years, and was essentially almost lost to time. With the advent of the internet and group forums, interest for the treasure hunt started to pick back up once again. By combining the most aspiring minds with the brightest thinkers willing to put in the time, more ground has been covered in solving the treasure than was ever done before. With this came a host of theories and ideas about how to solve the puzzle. One of the most prevailing theories is that the towns and cities listed within the enigmas triangulate to the location of the statuette. Including the two locations mentioned earlier, there are 5 places definitively figured out: Bourges, Roncesvalles, Carignan, Galfouin, and Cherbourg. When charted on a map of France, they all seem to form an X, with Bourges being in the center. This magnifies the argument that these locations weren't just picked at random, and that there is some significance to the points on the map. Unfortunately, not much more is known about this theory. The spiral theory is a little more interesting. In Enigma 500, the following is written: At Carignan, take the orthogonal. To find the spiral with 4 centers, 560,606 measures, it is far. By using the mathematical method of involutes, we draw a spiral using a square to find out the 4 arcs of the spiral. The idea of making a spiral is not lost to the puzzle, as there are a few nods to the use of bow compasses within the images. However, some people even believe the spiral has nothing to do with the mathematical spiral, but spirals found in real life, such as the famous spiral staircases of Dabo. There are a few more prominent theories flying around about the puzzle, and although Valentine was more than willing to help guide people on the right track, things were about to take a bit of a downturn. In the evening of April 23, 2009, Max Valentine passed away. And with this, the Golden Owl community was hit with a heavy roadblock. With one of the very few men who knew the location of the treasure passing away, it made finding the statuette a lot more difficult. No more would there be any hints provided to the public, and with the community in a figurative standstill, the entire hunt was essentially put on hiatus. However, now the interest in the hunt has picked up over the past few years, with over 100,000 active owlers trying to find the golden owl. With websites like Reddit, the worldwide community has come together to collectively try to put an end to what is considered the second longest treasure book hunt in history. Max Valentine and Michel Becker set out to create one of the greatest interactive experiences to follow in the footsteps of past treasure hunts. Unfortunately, it was a little too ambitious for its time and required a level of precision that just wasn't possible yet. In its wake is one of the most intricate and beautiful works of fiction that combine both fantasy and reality. Even if you don't want to be a part of the hunt, reading through the pages and taking in the gorgeous artwork is just enough to feel the passion and detail that was put into this unknown classic. If you are inspired to be an owler yourself, there are some links in the description below for you to help take your first steps. And who knows, maybe you can be the one to crack the code and see what's at the end of the trail of the golden owl.